Huvo, welcome back to the channel. My name is David. Today we're going to be talking about Sony's new 24 to 50 millimeter f2.8 G lens. So this is kind of like, I guess, a new direction that they're going with the G line of lenses, which is the step below G Master, because they also released a 16 to 25 2.8 compact zoom that pairs nicely with this lens. And I'm really hoping Sony does like some sort of unholy 2.8 trinity where you get like a 70 to maybe 100 millimeter or 110 millimeter and keep the size very small and compact. That would be really freaking cool, especially if you do gimbal work. What made me get this lens is I ended up going to Comic-Con this past July for work and overpacked and almost screwed up my back because everything was so heavy and I was on my feet all day. And so being able to have basically something that is similar to a 24 to 70, albeit you're losing 20 millimeters. And you know, it's like a quarter of the weight and just compact, but it still produces fantastic results, I think is awesome. So bought it, I bought a Sony A7C, haven't looked back since. But tangent aside, today we're gonna be talking about things like build quality, image quality, and autofocus performance, not in that particular order. And also, quick disclaimer, Sony did not provide any of the equipment shown in this video. I bought everything with my hard-earned money, and you already know my wallet is still in therapy, and it's not getting out of therapy anytime soon because I gotta stop buying shit that I don't need. Anyways, so without further ado, let's just jump into the review. The 24 to 50 millimeter f2.8 G feels great in the hand and has a bit of weight to it. However, the lens only weighs 440 grams or 1 pound, which is freaking amazing. It's made of a mix of metal and high quality plastics built around a metal lens mount with a weather sealing gasket. According to Sony, the lens is fully weather sealed, which means you can use it in adverse weather conditions. At the base of the lens, you'll find an aperture ring, which has a nice click to it when turned. For us video shooters, there is a declick switch on the right side underneath the lens. This will remove the clicking noise when adjusting the aperture, so you won't hear it when you're shooting video. Towards the middle of the lens, you'll find a rubber zoom ring, which is well damped. What surprised me about this lens is when you zoom out to 24 millimeters, the lens extends out. And when you zoom in to 50 millimeters, it retracts. On the left-hand side, you'll find a reprogrammable button, which lets you hotkey your favorite settings of choice. Next to that is the autofocus manual focus switch. At the front of the lens is a rubber focus ring, which turns very smoothly. Lastly, the front filter is a 67 millimeter and it comes with a small plastic lens hood. All in all, this lens feels very well built and has a similar build to that of a GM lens, which is really good considering its price point. Despite the lens's smaller form factor, Sony managed to redesign the focusing system and put smaller linear motors in the lens for faster, quieter, and more precise performance. I had no trouble trusting this lens to acquire focus when shooting live music, also in part because I am using a Sony A7C Mark II and the autofocus in that camera is fantastic. Sony also says that this lens will support shooting 120 frames a second with the A9 Mark III, and like most of Sony's newer lenses, it supports their breathing compensation function, which makes this lens a great choice for video. I gotta say, I'm really impressed with the performance of this lens, and I guess it's not the size, but how you use it that matters. Normally with smaller lenses, you would expect the image quality to take a hit, but this lens provides very, very good image quality. Images at f2.8 are sharp, vibrant, and clinical throughout the zoom range. The 11-blade circular aperture produces a large and smooth bokeh. So for you bokeh whores out there, this is a winner. I did notice some barrel distortion at 24 millimeters, which is very common on wide-angle lenses. However, this is a very, very easy fix in Lightroom. The 4 aspherical elements help minimize spherical aberrations, distortion, and also reduce onion ring bokeh. The 2 extra low dispersion elements effectively suppress chromatic aberrations and color fringing for greater clarity and color fidelity. Overall, this lens is a stellar performer and, dare I say, a worthy rival to its bigger and more expensive 24 to 70 f2.8 G Master version 2 brother. Now, I personally love this lens because it's very lightweight and compact, and I don't need the 70 millimeters because I have a 70 to 200. And I also do a lot of gimbal work. And also, It's half the cost of the 24-70 Mark II. I'd rather save the money and the weight. However, for the same $1,100, you could get a lot of lens in the E-mount ecosystem because you got Tamron's 20-40, you got their 28-75 G2, the Sigma 24-70 Mark I and Mark II, and the 28-70. And then Sony has obviously the 20-70 f4 and then the 24-105. So it really just depends on your needs. If you need a 24-70, I would go for a 24-70. But if you're not in the need of one and you have a 70-200 and like I said, shoot a lot of stuff on a gimbal, I would go with this lens. So I kind of hope this really helped you decide if this lens is for you or not. Again, it's kind of complicated because there's so many options on Sony's E-mount. If this was like a different mount and you know, this was like the only lens in its class and you were saving a lot of money, I would obviously go for it. But again, your needs are different than my needs. So with that said, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you found it helpful, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, double tap the dislike button twice. Trust me, it works. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and follow me on Instagram at DLoVisuals to stay up to date with my latest adventures. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Hasta luego.